Hey guys, what's going on? It's Philmington. This is a Mailbin video. I've got a bunch of stuff I wanted to show off from December, pickups that range from mid to high end. I've got about 10 different items there. But before I get into that, I wanted to apologize. It's been about 2 weeks since I made my last video. I've been slammed with my primary job with baseball card related stuff. And actually right now I'm in the middle of planning 3 other videos. Of course, we've got the speculation series. I owe the finale, the episode number 4 there. I'm also working on a year-in review type video where I provide some shout-outs of people that have helped promote my channel, my brand, and some other shout-outs as well. And then I'm working on a different type of video, which is a surprise. But here is the mail bin. This is the last one of 2019. This is what you guys all came here for. And we're going to start with Marco Luciano. This is his refractor in a BGS 9. And it's got decent subs and 8.5 surface. Not one that'll be cracking out. Don't usually like to take risks with most of those cards unless I can, in this case, if I could actually spot the surface defect, and maybe if some of those other subgrades are a little bit higher with the edges and corners, then I'd consider it. But perfectly fine with this 9. Number to 499, of course. He's 18 years old. He's got pretty much all the traits that I like in a young player. Well, of course, he's got the age factor. He's 18. He also has plate discipline. He knows how to take a walk. He doesn't strike out too much, at least in his limited minor league stint so far. He's got power. He's got the speed. He's on probably what is an average market with the Giants. Now, let's not conflate the market size with how successful they've been as a team of late, because those are 2 very different things. The Giants were terrible this year. They'll probably be terrible again next year, to be honest. But he has a lot of the factors I like. If you were to compare him to some of the guys in Bowman Draft, I'll be honest with you, I haven't done a ton of research on those guys yet, but I do know the top few with Adley Rutschman, Bleday, Bishop, Green, of course, Andrew Vaughn and Jung. I would probably prefer him over all those guys. Rutschman definitely has a raw numbers. If you were to look at that all else equal, basically, and not consider position and team, then I'd probably prefer Adley, and of course age, he's already 22. But once you start considering that he's a catcher, once you look further into the Orioles' lack of ability to develop offensive talent, of course, aside from Machado, and again, the age factor, I probably prefer Luciano over him. He's younger than Andrew Vaughn. I do like Andrew Vaughn. The other guys, they don't really have the numbers, at least yet, from the minor league perspective that I like to see when prospecting. The other part of this is that I think he's undervalued related to Julio Rodriguez right now. J-Rod, he just had a couple PSA 10 base autos that sold for north of $400, which I think is a little crazy. You can still get Luciano in most cases for under 300 in the 250 range, I'd say. I don't think that's warranted. I actually think Luciano's shown a bit more in his limited time. I know Julio Rodriguez probably had a few stretches that were borderline elite, and people took notice to that, but Luciano's the guy for me if he's cheaper than J-Rod. So I picked up his green as well. There was a comp, I believe, of a recent Julio Rodriguez pickup. I think it was a True Gem Plus, so this one doesn't have the subgrades, so it's naturally not going to sell for any more than the minimum BGS 9.5, so 3 9.5 subgrades and a 9. A lot of the times the True Gem or the True Gem Plus will sell for 20 to 25% more than this, but still, the Julio Rodriguez comp was more than double what I paid for this. I think it was north of $1,100, and I paid about $550 for this, I believe. So happy with that. Not everybody likes the greens, and in my speculation series, I tell people to stay away from greens. But in a lot of cases, they're so cheap that I think they're a good buying opportunity. And when the player is hot enough, you'll see that 3 to 4x multiplier easily with the greens. Look at Fernando Tatis and Luis Robert and some of their most recent comps. You'll definitely see that. Now, another thing that's wrong with the greens that people don't like as of late is they're being featured as a retail-only exclusive in regular Bowman Baseball, which is from the Bowman Baseball set, not Bowman Draft, which doesn't have a retail configuration. So that's another factor to look at, but I looked past that and I thought I got a pretty good price on this. Number to 99, guys, come on. All right, next up is going to be Ketel Marte. I featured him in Speculation Series. I think it was episode 1. Really like this guy. His base Bowman Chrome autos shot up when I pushed that as the desirable card for Marte. There have been examples of refractors, probably more on the gold and orange side, that have been discounts, I felt. So I went after a gold, picked this up again after I shouted him out in that episode, and had to pay a little bit more than I probably would have had I not made that video, but I still think I got a pretty good deal on this. For some reason, especially as of late, guys, people don't like the 9s. People like the 10s a lot more. It's always been that way. It used to be a 1.5 or 1.75 multiplier. But in some cases, you get 2x or 3x, which in some cases I get it with like Topps flagship parallels, whatever. Those trends will probably always persist, where like a Tatis Series 2 Gold in a PSA 10 is always going to sell for 2 to 3x the 9 equivalent. But with Bowman Chrome cards, I just don't see that being a trend that'll persist. So what I'm trying to say is that if you can get a 9 for less than 50% of the 10 for a modern card, for Bowman Chrome talking, then a lot of times it'll be a good deal. Some cases it won't. Some cases you have to look at other factors like the set, like population reports, stuff like that. But this is a beautiful card, guys. This is a set that left-right centering is actually difficult to find in, and this is beautifully centered. Is this a candidate for popping out? No, because I don't know if I can find it now, but there is a surface dimple on there. So it's definitely a 9, but it's a beautiful 9. It's got a beautiful signature. I love the gold refractors, guys. And Ketel Marte is going to have another great year. I think he's a dark horse to finish top 3 in MVP voting, to be honest. All right. Speaking of Ketel Marte, this is his Topps Chrome Sapphire. So this is a set that I have unintentionally neglected as part of the Speculation Series. And this is one that I probably need to talk about a bit more. Now, and I talked to Eric, those back pages, about this, but I don't think Bowman Draft Sapphire is gonna be as big from an ROI perspective if you're buying singles of it. Now, breaking it is something completely different, and right now it's selling for 3 to 4x MSRP, so probably not going to be great returns that way anyway. But I think from a singles perspective, Topps Chrome Sapphire is going to be the way to go over Bowman Draft Sapphire. Just as a Bowman, somewhat of a connoisseur and collector and investor for a number of years, we've done a great job at pushing away the variants that were close knockoffs to the original. So the black refractors, the shimmers, the waves, the speckles, the sparkles, the atomics, they're just never going to be as easy to move. With Topps Chrome, there weren't as many people that were loyal supporters of the product. There weren't as many cards in Topps Chrome that you would consider, oh, that's their holy grail, like number 1 or 2 rookie card to pick up, whether it's the autograph or the base. Topps Chrome actually has, I think they've hurt their sub-brand over the years by introducing increases to the print run that have been disproportionately higher than flagship. So, and this is just an anecdotal example, but if you were to look at George Springer, he was in 2014 Topps Chrome, he was in 2014 Topps Update as well. If you were to look at the PSA 10 pop reports, you'll notice there's a hell of a lot more in regular paper. But then if you're to like move up a few years, whether it's comparing that to Javi Baez, comparing that to Cody Bellinger, you'll notice that there's almost just as many in Topps Chrome that have been graded versus Topps Update. So what I'm trying to say is that, again, Topps Chrome has been a culprit of print run spikes that haven't really been replicated across some of the other brands like flagship. If we're talking pure percentage-wise, year over year, print run increases. So Sapphire, of course, has got a limited print run, and if you've paid attention to the markets at all, you've seen that Ronald Acuna card is ridiculous. Even the Fernando Tatis right now, the base is probably $400. High grades, you're looking at close to 1,000. People are hoarding those Acunas. Unfortunately, there is no Juan Soto, but Topps Chrome Sapphire, I think, is here to stay, and for a lot of people, that's going to be the card to pick up. So here's the Marte. I think this was the first year they introduced the Topps Chrome Sapphire, 2016, and I don't know if it's worth grading. What I've realized with the Sapphire card is sometimes it's difficult to spot like dimples, like because there's a lot of stuff going on. Like there's something going on here. It's probably a dimple, but got to look into that a little bit more. Still a good value, I thought, about 20, 25 bucks. Speaking of Topps Chrome Sapphire, this is a guy that I brought up in a recent video. This was my pick of the episode for episode 3. This is a Pop 1 BGS 10 Pristine Albies. I also like that the 1 non 10 subgrade is not the centering. So it's the corners here, which are pretty important too. But this is a really sweet card, guys. And these are probably pretty easy to grade. So this is one that, even though on my speculation series episode I suggested a holding period of greater than 1 month, this is one that I might just try to list buy now best offer to see if there's any takers, because when you're on top like this, when you're a Pop 1, sometimes there's just the only direction to go is down. So I might try to take advantage of that leverage and see what I can get for this card right now. If not, that'll be okay, and I'll wait till 2020, because I'm again very bullish on what Ozzy Albies, what I think that he's capable of doing. Another guy that I'm bullish on for 2020, Walker Buehler, probably my pick to win National League Cy Young, probably will be featured in Speculation Series Episode 4. Usually I don't give away hints, but if you guys are watching my content, then you deserve something, right? So this is actually a Pop 3. The seller had 2 of these, and it was the same seller that had the Albies as well. Maybe a little sketchy, maybe not. I don't know. Judge for yourself. The other one didn't have 10 centering though, so I asked like, oh, can you just send me the one that has 10 centering? And I don't even think the picture had 10 centering. I just knew because I saw the pop reports that the other 2 did have the 10 centering. They were out there, because Beckett will list that in their little database there. But sweet card of Buehler. I think I paid about 150 each for these 2. PSA 10s are probably a little bit more than half of that. You'd probably be looking to spend 70 to 90 on a PSA 10. So I didn't get a steal, I don't think. But whatever, I think I paid a fair price. And again, if the trending with Topps Chrome Sapphire, if that's to propagate onto lesser players, well, right now, guys, this card right here, Ozzy Albies, he's never going to be Ronald Acuna, but this is selling for about 2.5% what Acuna is selling for. And if you were to compare other like cards like the Bowman Chrome Autograph, Topps Flagship, Parallels, you're not going to see a times, what is that, a times 40 multiplier between those 2 players? That's ridiculous. All right. Next up, Jared Kelenic, all right? So a lot of people are buying up Julio Rodriguez right now, but who's the number 1 prospect in the Seattle farm system? It's this guy. He's in AA. He put up some solid numbers last year. He's got 20-20 written all over him, maybe 30-30 or 30-20. He's 20 years old. He turns 21 in, I believe, July. And while people are buying up Kirilloff and Pache and Joe Adell, this could be one of the next guys that makes an impact in the major leagues. So look for maybe a mid to late year call-up for Kelenic. Who knows? A guy like Luis Robert might struggle right out of the gate, but Kelenic's got pretty good skills, guys. So, and this is an example of another one where the PSA 9 was selling for about 35 to 40%. Get these for about 105 to 120 bucks. I think I paid about 105. The guy just decided to, I think it was it was a buy it now. So snatch this up. Nice autograph on it, nicely centered. A really good example of a 9, I thought. I think PSA 10s are selling for, at this point, close to 300. I know the refractor in a PSA 10 went for about 500 recently, which is pretty crazy too. But the 9s are the values right now for Kelenic. So a lot of people, and even myself, will say that for investments or for speculation, PSA 10s are always going to be the way to go for modern cards, and not necessarily the case. And here's another example of a 9 I picked up. This is a beauty. This is the most expensive purchase of the episode. Yordan Alvarez, mentioned him in Speculation Series Episode 3. Picked this one up right afterwards. Unfortunately, it's got a pretty bad surface dimple. That's a factory dimple right there. Kind of annoying. It's got some other surface stuff going on. I personally don't know why I got a 9. I probably deserved an 8.5 because it's not like everything else is flawless. I think that top right corner in the back is a little bit of white. But you know what? It's a gold refractor of a absolute stud. And this guy, I think, he's not a lock to hit 300, but I wouldn't be surprised if he hits 300 next year with close to 40 home runs. Vegas right now has him, I think, at 20-1 to hit the most home runs in baseball as a second-year player. Of course, he's got very few other cards out there. He's going to be driving Topps Series 1 when that comes out in a couple months. And I really like this guy, and I'm not concerned at all, again, as I mentioned my speculation series episode, of the so-called cheating. I don't think it really affected him. He had 980 OPS on the road, guys. 980. What do you think Nolan Arenado did in the road last year? I don't think it was over 800 though, his OPS. All right. And is just one more card to show off? Yeah, I think there's just one more card here. This is another high-end one, guys. Brace yourselves. Speculation Series Episode 2. Luis Arraez, guys. Looks like a base card, right? From Topps Update, who cares? No, this is his Platinum Parallel, numbered 1/1. And couldn't really tell from the pictures. Took a little bit of a risk if it was in good shape or not. Fortunately, there sometimes aren't drastic changes in the value based on condition of cards that are this rare, because it's not like it can distinguish itself if it's a PSA 10, because it's still going to be the same card. There's still going to be no other one-of-ones that are in inferior condition, but it looks like to me that it's a solid 9 candidate. Top left, a little bit of white. This is part of the card here. Top right, that was my initial concern. Whatever, it's probably a 9. I hope it's a 9. My first inclination was to send this maybe to Beckett, because even though Beckett's slabs are annoyingly thick, most people would consider that a hindrance at least, and I would as well, especially when you're transporting your cards. They're heavier as well, and they can be cloudy. You can't see the card as well. But I think this justifiably deserves a bigger than normal slab, because it's a bigger than normal card. But I'll probably be sending this off to PSA and hoping for that 9 grade. And this is a card that was tough to value, to be honest. So, and you might have done something different. There's a lot of different ways to come up with an approximate value of a card like this. What I did is I looked at other Platinum Parallels that had sold, those being, at the time, it was really just Keston Hiura and Will Smith of the semi-stars or stars of the product, whatever you want to call them, the top 10 to 15 guys in the product. And I looked at the prices of those Platinums. I looked at prices of black Parallels as well, numbered to 67. And I used a multiplier range from Will Smith and Keston Hiura. And I used that to derive a approximated range for Luis Arraez. And I got a value of between $800 to $1,200 on this. And I paid less than that. Not much less, but I paid less. My first offer, he accepted it. And I think it was buy now best offer of $1,500, and I paid $775. So he got more than half of what he was asking. Maybe that's what he wanted. And we're both happy, guys. So this is a guy that, he's 22. He plays for the Twins. They won about 100 games last year. That might not happen again, but this is a team that's pretty serious about competing. We'll see if they make any more moves to bolster that pitching staff, because that is needed. Outside of Jose Barrios, I don't really know who they have that's actually trustworthy. But besides the point, looking at him as a player, his upside is Tony Gwynn, which is ridiculous. He's got like a really good hit tool where he could hit seriously 320 plus year in, year out. Now, batting average is a very wildly unpredictable stat. It's one that has a great amount of variability from year to year. It's one that is most susceptible to luck. There's a great deal of luck that happens with balls that are hit and play, whether they're actually base hits or whether they're recorded for an out. But he's done it over the last few years in the minors. He did it last year in the majors. He did it on a greater scale in the playoffs. And Who knows? He might be able to develop power. But right now, he doesn't have any power. So that is it for today's Mailbin, and somewhat of a longer episode, but hopefully you guys thought it was worth it and got plenty of other videos to come. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on eBay. I'll be listing a bunch of stuff this weekend. And thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Philmington out.